Every Christian needs to know this argument that proves God's existence. My name is Ashley. Let's get into it. So, what we're focusing on today is something called the Kalam Cosmological argument. Now, it's a big name that you do not need to remember. What you do need to remember, though, is the following three things. It's three premises. So, premise one, everything that begins to exist has a cause. Let's go again. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. Not everything that exists has a cause. Everything that begins to exist. All right, let's go premise two. The universe began to exist, at least according to Big Bang cosmology. You know, Stephen Hawking he said that the biggest thing he has against time having a beginning is that it speaks of a divine intervention. So, again, first premise, everything that begins to exist has a cause. Premise two, the universe began to exist. And because those two things are true, premise three is true. And premise three states that, therefore, the universe has a cause. Or at least the universe requires a cause. To say it differently is, everything that begins requires a beginner. Right? Or has a beginner. Like nothing begins in our universe without a beginner. Like no thing in our entire universe that begins to exist does not have a cause. Now, let's look at what this actually means, because it doesn't mean therefore God, therefore Christianity is true. That's not the point of this argument. The point of this argument is to be intellectually honest as an atheist and say, well, it's more reasonable to conclude that something caused everything instead of nothing. And what does that something look like? So let's look at our universe. Let's not open our Bible right now. Let's look at our natural universe and see what we can deduce from that, what the attributes could be of the uncaused first cause. Now, side note, I say uncaused first cause, and the reason why I say that is because it's the only way to avoid infinite regress. You can't have an infinite amount of causes and effects. You just can't have that. There has to be an uncaused first cause that caused everything. All right? You can't just say the universe was eternal. In the past, they used to think that. Here comes Einstein, general relativity, and that changed everything. All right, let's get back to the argument. So, what attributes can we attribute, I guess, to the uncaused first cause? Let's call that the causal agent. All right, we're not going to call it God yet. We'll get there. But if we look at our universe and we look at Big Bang cosmology, if we just side with science right now, which we should probably always be doing because science is God's natural revelation. Anyway, science would say, well, according to Big Bang cosmology, that space, time, and matter came into existence. So if space, time, and matter came into existence at the Big Bang, at the beginning of everything here, the causal agent has to be timeless, spaceless, and immaterial. Now, you might see, already those three things are attributes of God in the Bible. But let's not go there yet. We'll get there. So, the causal agent is timeless, spaceless, immaterial, and personal. Hear me out when I say personal. When I say personal, meaning able to make decisions to cause something. Because impersonal forces, like a rock, cannot choose to cause anything. Now here's an illustration. If we look at the top of a mountain peak, there's a tree, strong wind comes, tree falls down, hits a couple of rocks, the rocks tumble down and create an avalanche. There was a whole bunch of causes and effects that just happened there. But not one of those things chose to cause anything. They're impersonal forces. So when we look at the uncaused first cause, the only thing that's there before everything was created, like there's nothing else there. There's nothing else there that can push it, nudge it, convince it to choose to start causing everything. It's only the one uncaused first cause. It has to be able to choose to cause everything. There has to be a mind there. It's more reasonable to conclude that it has to have an attribute of being able to choose to cause something than not. If you're being intellectually honest, you have to conclude that. All right, let's carry on. There's also a lot of energy and matter in our universe. So what does this mean? Well, essentially, if we say timeless, spaceless, immaterial, personal, able to choose to cause something, then we also have extremely powerful. Now, when we say extremely powerful, it's because of all the energy and matter in our universe. Remember, the causal agent will have a greater amount. Now, some people might say, well, according to the law of thermodynamics, you can't create energy, you can just transfer from one form to another. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Well, remember, that law is only applicable within the natural universe. You cannot take that law and therefore impose it on something that is beyond the parameters of that law in which it operates in. So we have timeless, spaceless, immaterial, personal, and extremely powerful. We can actually go on with more attributes. But for now, there was a whole lot there. So remember the three premises. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. Our universe began to exist. Therefore, universe requires a cause. If anything, an intellectually honest atheist will at least admit that there is something rather than nothing. That this is a reasonable conclusion to make, and that we're not just believing because of faith, blind faith, because that's not what biblical faith is. We're believing because of the evidence. We're believing in a causal agent with these attributes. I mean, again, there's multiple arguments that eventually get us to the point of why the Christian God is the right God, the correct God, the true God, the one and only. You can subscribe to the channel for more of these types of videos that will get us there. But man, if you can just remember this one thing, it'll get people thinking. Three premises, the Kalam Cosmological argument. Peace out.